with the Yoki
Offer it
boys.
to Eggman, get him out of the picture.
Throw some discs.
Yo, what's up? Chilling with Be In right now at the UNS
What up, what
Festival
up?
in Mariposa, California. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Based out of Richmond, Virginia. One of the founders of EBSU Sound alongside my good friend, the Don Rex, whatever. Just making moves, playing music, enjoying the scenery and the presence of all these beautiful people here at the festival.
Hell yeah.
And trying to just ensure that that's a constant that we get to experience. So pretty much like sums it up.
So if somebody were to ask what type of music you make, what would you say to them?
Definitely very freeform. It just kind of like goes along with whatever vibe I'm trying to curate or experience that like I'm trying to have at the festival myself. A lot of like heavy stuff, a lot of like, you know, crunchy, neuro-y, like halftime and just really deep like dub. Like I love all those things, but some down tempo, some like lo-fi stuff too occasionally, just kind of depending on when and where I get to play, just exploring a bunch of different sonic regions.
Right, it's definitely amazing. You gotta check it out. You gotta see him live. It's legit. And then, what got you started? Like, how did you start making music?
Went to a few shows and then really got into the festival culture, and getting into that element of things was a huge catalyst for all of it. Like seeing like, you know, it's probably as cliche as it sounds, but seeing artists like Bass Nectar and just being like, wow, this sheer scope of this thing is so crazy to me, and like having that many people and that great of sound and like that great of like a production and just like building vibes around that and stuff like here, like all the artists, like specifically like especially like Turnian Sound and like De La Corn yesterday, like just blew me away. Just, you know, knowing how to curate a vibe and having people that are just super like about it. I really fell in love with that really quickly. And then as I started going to more shows and realizing, you know, like you can get an idea out there, and as long as people get behind it, like, you know, they'll have a really awesome experiences with you. Like, really wanted to do that, and just kind of propelled me into deciding to pursue it more, like, seriously and professionally. And just been falling in love with the process and with all of it in different ways ever since. It's definitely super dope. So just keeping that mentality is like really shown me that this is what I want to do, and just like approaching it from that angle has been a huge facilitator for that.
See any trends or any predictions where the scene is going?
I definitely think that we're gonna. I mean, it's hard to predict because, you know, like, especially with this type of music, because there's so many different genres and influences and all these different hemispheres that people can explore. It's like, you know, as soon as one really cool sound pops up and somebody like hones in on that, you know, you have hundreds, if not thousands, of other people who like have the same goal and accomplished it just as well. So there's just all this dank music as soon as something catches fire. So it's like really hard to, I guess, pinpoint it. But if there is one thing that I've been seeing that I feel is like kind of an indicator of where it's going to be going for the next few years, is like kind of like a return to the older styles of electronic music. Like, you know, the more original like foundations, like deep dubstep and like, you know, things of that nature, but just kind of like with a lot more like breaks and like just kind of like glitchy elements that, you know, is like integrated from like all the genres that are out and like shit that people listen to now. But I definitely see that being something, you know, just deeper, sub-working, heavier things that are just like very reminiscent of like older forms of like heavy stuff like dubstep and, you know, like halftime and like drum and bass and just like all those things. But yeah, that's about all I can say. You never really know.
So yeah, tell us about Ibizu, dude.
Well, it's first and foremost a family, which is really cool. And like I definitely say that like obviously I have bias. Like I love the whole team and I love the culture that we're building there, but in as objective sense as possible, a family. And it's like basically how we've built it is like, you know, the idea is like you want to connect to the culture with whatever you're doing, and so like you need to connect with the people in the culture and the moments in the culture, and like you do that by like promoting those kind of ideas and like, you know, really just personalizing it, like hanging out with people and like bringing them out to shows and just like making sure everyone's having a great time and like producing music that's like really able to like encapsulate that well. And that's what we're trying to do, just like continue to foster that like growth of like the community and the family that it builds in turn. And we just have a bunch of guys that are like invested in that idea and just throwing down as hard as possible every chance they get. So just been building on that for the last couple of years, and thankfully with like people like, you know, the Don Steve and the Uns family and the Gradient Perspective and, you know, the movements that are popping up and have been like built all across the country, with their help we've been very fortunate to see this thing kind of grow and develop in a way that is hopefully going to have that impact that we want to have on the community. So it's pretty cool, man, just riding the wave and experiencing it and just letting it all grow as it will and trying to represent the best of what we can while we can.
All right, man. So where can people find you?
Like talking about socials, we talking about like
Everything, man. Like if people want to find out more, listen to more music,
yeah,
check you out.
On SoundCloud, like BNBeats, BEATS. Same for Facebook. I'm gonna be playing a bunch of shows like in Virginia Beach, doing support for Rusco and the big city homies who are around here somewhere. But on the 8th, and then after that, taking a couple weeks off, but then Yonderville Music Festival in West Virginia, and then Big Dub, the East Coast Legend Festival. I'm really excited for that. 10 years, man. 10-year anniversary. It's super hype.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks, man, for the inspiring words. You are a legend. Can't wait to see you grow. You're killing it, dude.
Dude, much love, man.
I just painted my nails.
Much love. Thank you.